Hello and welcome back. Today we're checking out My War covered by Ouro Kronii. Now I'm excited to get into this. Let's just jump right on in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. I like the composition so far. She's a very she's like very kind of like back in her throat and almost like kind of like nasal as well, kind of like when you're holding back your voice a little bit, but it's a bit more playful. And I actually quite like that for the supporting vocals. It's got this a very like I don't it's almost got this kind of cutesy element, but leaning more into this like eerie factor, especially with the accompanying instrumentation. But it's very interesting. I don't think I've heard her voice in that demeanor before. Nice. Ooh, these are nice strings. Nice. I usually do not like vocal effects on most in most scenarios. I generally do not like vocal effects, but I think this is awesome. This is like very little obscuring of the vocals. It's just kind of like this like slight suppression with this drive effect, and it's got almost like a slight octave to it. Like in the sense of like an amp effect, like if you had like an amp octave effect on it. It's very clean, despite the slight distortion there. Nice. Oh. Okay, a lot of vocal layering here. Nice. Bringing that string accompaniment more to the forefront. Nice. I like the vocals, the lyrics that we're seeing on screen. I think that vocal track is kind of playing the role of like keys. Like normally you'd have the piano kind of in that track for for this kind of chorus. That would definitely be the piano part, but we're supplementing that with these short bursts of vocals. And that was a really nicely mixed. This entire mix feels very. It has this kind of like soft demeanor around it, despite a lot of compositional choices that would seem jarring normally. Especially with the dramatic strings. But I do think those that absence of that key part there really leans into that kind of soft aesthetic around the entire mix. Additionally, the percussion as well, we're really relying on that cymbal, and we're not really having like a crash. We're just kind of riding that cymbal for a lot of the time, which it definitely takes away more from the impact and kind of makes it more majestic and projecting, and it's more cohesive, but also the tracks kind of mesh together as well, which is a really cool aesthetic to have. Though I do hope that we kind of have a switch up where we emphasize more of the percussion and make it kind of grow in intensity. Nice. And that's a beautiful string track there. Okay. That's an interesting transition right there. We didn't have like any kind of like classic rides between the segment, like a synth rise or anything, or not like a cutout. It was just kind of very straight to the point on the transition there. Yeah, we just kind of have those interjectory instrumentation there. Nice, I like the flowers. I can't do it. Nice, whispers. Nice. Nice. Bring in the strings. Nice, nice. That string variation there is really nice. I don't think we did that on the first chorus. I'm pretty sure the first chorus came down with the strings there, and then the strings here came up. I could be wrong about that, but if I recall correctly, the strings went down on the first chorus progression and at the very end there, and then this time we lifted up for the transition. Could be wrong about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. I don't think that was the right call. I don't think this is the right call. This was not where you put the keys. This sounds good though. Having it on just the single key as an accompaniment. And bring in more of that guitar as well. It's been on the back burner for a while. Alright, strings still in the spotlight. Oh, nice. You hear that reverb on the vocal there where she goes like, I mean, she's just saying like do, do. But she got like a really, really good timing on that reverb there. I don't think they did that same amount of reverb on the whole track. It was just for that one little vocal interjection there. Right there. Okay. We're using that kind of we're using a little bit of that demeanor we used on the intro there, where it's kind of like more towards the back of her throat and a little more nasal. But we're not going quite as severe as we did on the introduction. It's a little more subtle. Ooh, okay. That I think that was her most comfortable range to me, just based on the audio. That sounded like her best range, her best projection there, and as well as the reverb effect on it. That was the best vocals I feel. Personally, to me, that was the best vocals we've had so far from this cover. That was really, really nice. Nice. I'm also a sucker for reverb, but still. Okay. That could have been an original thing. Okay. Little bit off pitch. Nice. That was a good head voice there. Okay. We're probably gonna end on the sustain here. Just keep the tension up. Yep. Yep. Alright. That was My War, covered by Ouro Kronii. There's a lot of things. This was a very, very hectic mix. There's a lot of tracks here. So I feel like I said some things that are what I heard, but I could be wrong about that. Like earlier on when I mentioned like the octave effect, I don't know if that was necessarily an octave effect or just a similar distortion as to what you would have on like metal octave effect on a guitar amp. And then you would just have that like similar distortion, but because of either like a subtle layered vocal or because of just the bass where it's kind of meshing with the vocal track, it kind of sounds like an octave effect. But I don't know if that was really an octave effect right there. I might have been wrong about that. Also, what I mentioned earlier as well. And then, but overall, this was a very, very cool song to cover from Kronii. I do think it's I do think it's a little bit too low on those interjectory vocals where we get the lyrics on throughout those chorus right here, like with the devil's faces, like you can hear that very, very quietly in the back, but I do think they should have brought that up in the mix. It did not need to sit that far back, especially when we had our interjectory rhythm keeping vocals so high. You know, it doesn't make sense to have the lyrics below our rhythm interjections for vocals. That doesn't really make sense. You're gonna hear those interjections for the vocal tracks. You're gonna hear that even if it's subtle. It's still gonna have an impact. So you don't need to layer those above your actual lyrics that you're singing. So you should probably raise those higher in the mix. But that's a very minor complaint, I think, when you have this many tracks meshing together. But I do think it's an important one still, because I do think it would very much change how the chorus sounds if you had those lyrical vocals higher in the mix. And you can hear there's like a really, really nice projection on those, like when she's saying with devil's faces, like that. She's pronouncing that really well, but we're not really getting that in the mix, especially when we've got all this clutter that really works to the benefit of the song, but it's just louder than the track there. And that's not the only main vocal track, so it could have been more to emphasize the Japanese main vocal. But when you come earlier to like the first chorus here, I think it easily could be higher than it is right there. See, yeah, I think you can still hear it. It's still like audible, but it definitely could easily be higher in the mix. But overall, I mean, those are kind of just some nitpicks from me. But I mean, nonetheless, this is probably probably my favorite cover from Kronii I've heard. This is really, really good stuff. I really, really enjoyed this. If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure I've heard this song before, but I do not remember. I think it was Attack on Titan. I'm pretty sure this is an Attack on Titan song. But I didn't watch whatever season this was for. But I have definitely heard this song before a very long time ago. But this is this is really, really cool. This is a really, really cool cover from Kronii. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and as always, feel free to recommend more things for me to check out in the comments below. Aside from that, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much.